A warm welcome to all of you. Today, in this video lecture, I'm going to discuss about Lord Byron's famous poem, Lord Byron's celebrated sonnet, the title of which is On the Castle of Chillon. This poem was written in the year 1816. And this poem was written when Lord Byron was not fully aware about Francois de Bonaparte. When Lord Byron was fully aware about, he was not fully aware about Francois de Bonaparte. Later, when Lord Byron knew about Francois de Bonaparte, he wrote another poem. Obviously, the poem is a dedication to Francois de Bonaparte's celebrated activities for Geneva's struggle against Savoy and how he fought against the Duke of Savoy, Francois de Bonaparte. And the title of the poem is The Prisoner, Prisoner, The Prisoner of Chillon. So what I mean to say is that when Lord Byron knew about Francois de Bonaparte, he composed this poem, The Prisoner of Chillon, but he heard the name of Francois de Bonaparte and immediately he went to compose this poem. This is a sonnet, the title of which is On the Castle of Chillon. And why is this particular Castle of Chillon so famous? Because this is the castle inside which Francois de Bonaparte was imprisoned for 6 years. Francois de Bonaparte was imprisoned inside this castle from 1530 to 1536. Who imprisoned him? He was imprisoned by Charles III. Who was Charles III? Charles III was the Duke of Savoy. What was Charles III's intention? He wanted to take hold of, that means he wanted to take the authority of the place called to be, Geneva. And Francois de Bonaparte, I must tell you all, he was born in France. He was born in France. More particularly, there is a place called Cesel. This is the name of the place of France, and this is the border area. Cesel is located in the border of France. The border between France and Switzerland. And there this place, Cesel is located. And later, Francois de Bonaparte, he became a prior. I must tell you all, he became what? He became a prior. Who is a prior? A prior is a deputy. A prior is a deputy of an abbot. As you all know, that an abbot is the head of a monastery, but sometimes an abbot also recruits a deputy, one who is called to be the head of a monastery, and such a person is called to be prior. So Francois de Bonaparte, he was a prior, that means he was just next to an abbot, but the position of a prior is also a very reputed position. He was a prior, he was a scholar, he studied in the ecclesiastical matters, and he stood for Geneva's home rule. He stood for Geneva's freedom against Savoyage oppression, So by this expression, Savoyage expression, what I mean to say is the Savoyage oppression. What I mean to say is the oppression of Charles III, the operation of Charles III. And Charles III just considered, Francois de Bonivard as his personal enemy, because Francois de Bonivard had a tremendous influence on the common people. And when he spoke that how Charles III, the Duke of Savoy, wanted to take the hold of our community, wanted to take the hold of our country, at that time people just definitely kept complete faith on Francois de Bonivard's words, and they stood against definitely Charles III, Duke of Savoy. Am I understandable? So this poem, the title of this poem is The Castle of Chillon. The title of this poem is The Castle of Chillon, and Castle of Chillon is located. The Castle of Chillon is located on the Lake of Geneva. On the Lake of Geneva, Geneva is a place, a beautiful place, a place famous for its hills and dales and valleys. So Geneva's lake has a big and massive, stone. Suppose this is the Lake of Geneva, and this is a massive stone in the lake, and on this particular stone, this castle is located. The Castle of Chillon. The Castle of Chillon is located there. It was believed that this particular castle was once upon a time, used by the Duke. That means it was considered to be an official building, but later this building was deserted and this building was occupied as, or this building was transformed into a prison. This building was transformed into a dungeon where the patriots, more particularly, the person who stood against the Duke of Savoy, that means Charles III, all of them were kept there, all of them were confined there, all of them were thrown there. And what I told a moment ago, that this duration, you all must keep it in mind, the duration of 6 or 7 years from 1530 to 1536. This time, Francois de Bonifard was imprisoned there. I must tell you all that Lord Byron is deeply, immensely influenced by the principles of French Revolution. The doctrines of, liberty, equality, and fraternity, it inspired Lord Byron. And that is why Lord Byron's poetry speaks about a kind of a revolutionary force, a kind of a indomitable zeal that always wants to break down the existing society, that wants to fight against the prejudices, that wants to that wants to give birth to a new society that would be beneficial for mankind. So, Lord Byron is a reformer. Lord Byron is an idealist, one who always believes that a change is quite required in the lap of the society. And believe me, this poem on the Castle of Chillon is definitely a poem that speaks about the political philosophies of Lord Byron, the romantic philosophies of Lord Byron. You must keep it in mind that Lord Byron and P.B. Shelley are the two romantic poets who are deeply influenced by the principles, the political principles, or by the political philosophies of, the French Revolution that took place in the year 1789. So before reading the text of the poem, let us read some lines uh, about Francois de Bonivard. Here the line is written that he was born in the year 1493. He was a celebrated Swiss patriot. He was a historian and he was a prior. I told you just a second ago that a prior is next to an abbot. A prior is also the head of a monastery, and the name of the monastery is Saint Victor, and this particular monastery is located in Geneva, and the name of Francois de Bonifard is remembered for his resistance as he fought against the Duke of Savoy. I just told you a moment ago that Charles III, I repeat, that Charles III was the Duke of Savoy, and later he was imprisoned where? He was imprisoned in this particular castle called Chillon Castle, or the Castle of Chillon. I told you that when this poem was written in the year 1816, at that time Lord Byron was not sufficiently acquainted with the political activities or about the patriotic activities of Francois de Bonaparte, but later when he became well acquainted with Francois de Bonaparte's contribution, he wrote another poem, and this is the name of the poem. You must use underline or keep this particular title within double quotation, and the title of the poem is The Prisoner of Chillon. Here you see that he was born in Seyssel. It's France. It's more particularly, it's located in the border of France in the year 1493. He came from a very noble family. He was educated in the ecclesiastical matters. That means he had sufficient, the biblical knowledge. He was the prior. That means he was the next to an abbot, but he was the head. Yes or no? The feminine form of the word prior is prioress. So he became the prior of this particular monastery called Saint Victor. And later he involved in the city struggle. That means in Geneva struggle against the Duke of Savoy. Yes or no? So the Duke of Savoy wanted to throw off the sovereignty of this particular city. So the common people of the city, collectively stood together. They got united and they fought against the Duke of Savoy, and the person who played an important role or whose dynamic leadership in that struggle was unforgettable. That person is Francois de Bonaparte. Yes or no? So the Duke of Savoy, he sought to control Geneva, and he understood that first he was imprisoned in the year 1519. So he was first imprisoned in 1519 and he was released in 1521, and later, and this particular year you must not forget, that is 1530, he was captured again and he was held in the dungeon. The word dungeon means the underground chamber. I repeat, the word dungeon means the underground chamber. He was kept, he was confined in the dungeon of Chillon Castle. It was a fortress. A fortress is a huge building, a large building, a very strong building, a very fortified building, and it is located on the shore of Lake Geneva, as I told a moment ago. It's really very much tough, to get out of this place, to escape from this place, because this particular castle is just surrounded by water almost everywhere. And there he had to endure his imprisonment for approximately 6 years, and he went through, harsh punishments, and finally he got his release in the year 1536. And this is a poem is definitely a tribute to Francois de Bonaparte. What I mean to say is that during the time of reading the poem, you all can come across that the poem, yeah, the poem is dedicated to Francois de Bonaparte, but the content of the poem is about all the patriots of the whole world. When you read the context of the poem, you understand that Lord Byron is glorifying Francois de Bonaparte, but it just seems to us that as if these are the lines which we can use to describe the liberty, which we can use to describe the contribution of any patriot of the whole world. I hope I am understandable, and that's how the poem has become, universal. ঠিক আছে? Because this is a poem that not only speaks about the political history of Switzerland, rather we the Indians, we can equally connect ourselves with the content of the poem, because we can remember that how the white settlers came in the year 1600 in the name of the traders in our country, and later how they got the Diwani power, and the East India Company, who were initially the traders, later on they played the role of the rulers, and we got literally ruled by them. So all these stories, I mean the stories of our country or the stories of any, take the stories of any colonized country, you all can remember that how these countries, sometimes dominated by the Europeans, by the white settlers, by the Britishers, or in one word, by the colonizers. So the same thing that equally took place with Geneva, because the Duke of Savoy, Charles III, yes or no, he wanted to dominate this particular area. But Francois de Bonaparte, he stood, he fought, he struggled, he was imprisoned, but Lord Byron admired him, appreciated him, and made him the main subject of his poem, The Prisoner of Chillon, as well as this poem on the Castle of Chillon. Initially, we must know that what is this Chillon. So we told that Chillon is the name of a place. It is famous for its castle, and this castle, it was made by the Duke of Savoy. It was located on a rock. Exactly, it was located where? It was located on a rock, and this rock is just, built or found, in the water of Lake Geneva. It was once upon a time used as a palace by the Duke of Savoy, and this particular palace has many underground chambers, and the celebrated patriot, Francois de Bonaparte, he was imprisoned there. So now, without any further delay, let us start to discuss about the content of the poem. Without any further delay, let's discuss this poem. The first line of the poem, the first word of the poem should be this particular word, liberty. Here, liberty means goddess of liberty. I repeat, here liberty means goddess of liberty. The poet invokes whom? The poet invokes, O goddess of liberty. The poet solemnly calls upon the goddess of liberty. He says that, O goddess of liberty, you are the eternal spirit. The expression eternal spirit, that means the permanent characteristic. I repeat once more. The expression eternal spirit simply means the permanent characteristic. So, O, the goddess of liberty, as you all know, that liberty is here personified, liberty is here considered to be a goddess, but we understand that the poet here speaks about liberty, but right now he addresses liberty to be the goddess of liberty, right? So he says that, O goddess of liberty, you are the permanent characteristic of the chainless mind of the patriots. I request everybody to add this expression at the end of the line. Now, this mind is called chainless. What is meant by chainless mind? It means the free mind. It means the free mind. It means the ungoverned mind, right? It means the ungoverned mind, or it means the ungoverned mindset of the patriots. Now, you understand that chainless means when somebody is not at all, cowed down, somebody is not at all bowed down by the force, by the torture, somebody is not ready to submit, somebody is not ready to, give up. So what Byron here means to say that your body can be chained. Yes or no? What Byron here means to say is that your body can be chained, but your mind is something that cannot be chained. So the patriots have that kind of chainless mind. That means the patriots have that indomitable mind. The patriots have that, what I say, the ungovernable, the unmanageable type of mind. They are never, submissive in front of the mighty forces, in front of the mighty power. So the Duke of Savoy, he could be very much powerful. But if you take the case of Francois de Bonaparte, he has that chainless mind that he is not ready to surrender in front of the Duke of Savoy. Charles III. সো বাংলায় বলতে গেলে প্রথম লাইনটার মানে হলো স্বাধীনতার দেবী আপনি হলেন পার্মানেন্ট ক্যারেক্টারিস্টিক, ইউ আর দ্য পার্মানেন্ট ক্যারেক্টারিস্টিক। আপনি কার পার্মানেন্ট ক্যারেক্টারিস্টিক? ইউ আর দ্য পার্মানেন্ট ক্যারেক্টারিস্টিক অফ দ্য চেনলেস মাইন্ড অফ দ্য প্যাট্রিয়টস। অর্থাৎ যারা দেশপ্রেমী রয়েছে সেই দেশপ্রেমীদের যে মানসিকতা, দেশপ্রেমীদের যে মন, যা শিকল মানে যা কোনো শিকল দিয়ে বাঁধা নেই, সেই শিকলহীন মানসিকতা যেটা দেশপ্রেমীদের মধ্যে রয়েছে, সেই দেশপ্রেমীদের মানসিকতার পার্মানেন্ট বৈশিষ্ট্য হলো লিবার্টি। মানে লিবার্টি কাদের মধ্যে থাকে? লিবার্টি ইজ ফাউন্ড, লিবার্টি ইজ ফাউন্ড, ঠিক আছে, কাদের মধ্যে থাকে? ইন দ্য মাইন্ড অফ দ্য প্যাট্রিয়টস, ইন দ্য চেনলেস মাইন্ড অফ দ্য প্যাট্রিয়টস। Now, let's read the second line. And here, Lord Byron says that, O goddess of liberty, you look brightest. That means you look most glorious. Excuse me. You look brightest. That means you look most glorious. You look most glorious where? You look most glorious in dungeons. Now, let us know the meaning of this phrase dungeon. Here, dungeon means the underground chamber. I repeat once more what is meant by the word dungeon. The word dungeon means the underground chamber. You remember that these are the historical prisons which have many underground chambers, and inside those underground chambers the prisoners have been kept, the prisoners have been confined. So what does the poet mean to say? That the prisoners are found where? The prisoners are found inside the underground chambers of the Castle of Chillon or of any other prison. Take the example of any other prison of the whole world. All these prisons probably have that kind of dungeons, probably have that kind of underground chambers, and the goddess of liberty looks brightest there. So when the patriot, who is the worshipper of the goddess of liberty, I repeat, a patriot is the worshipper of the goddess of liberty, and a patriot is kept where? A patriot is kept inside the dungeon. So the position occupied by a patriot is the position occupied by the goddess of liberty. So the goddess of liberty looks brightest in the dungeon because this is the place which is occupied by the patriots, as the oppressors threw all these patriots somewhere inside these dungeons. So, O the goddess of liberty, you look brightest where? You look brightest inside the underground chambers. You look brightest inside the underground chambers. Why? Because the patriots are found inside the underground chambers, and the patriots are the real devotees of the goddess of liberty. Yes or no? একজন দেবী তিনি তার ভক্তের মধ্যে উপস্থিত থাকেন। যেখানে ভক্ত আছেন সেখানে দেবী আছে। আজকে কামারপুকুরের উদাহরণ ধরে নাও, আজকে বীরভূমের আটলা গ্রামের উদাহরণ ধরে নাও, আটলা ইজ ফেমাস ফর বামদেব, সেরকম ভাবে আজকে কামারপুকুরের উদাহরণ ধরে নাও, ফেমাস ফর রামকৃষ্ণ দেব, ঠিক আছে? তা এই যে জায়গাগুলোতে তারা জন্মেছিলেন, সেই জন্য এই জায়গাগুলো ফেমাস হয়ে গেছে। তাহলে গডেস অফ লিবার্টি মানে মা তারা, এই সমস্ত জায়গার মধ্যে বলা হচ্ছে যে তিনি সেই সমস্ত জায়গাগুলোর মধ্যে উপস্থিত আছেন। ঠিক একই রকম ভাবে আজকে আমরা যদি বলি যে গডেস অফ লিবার্টি, তাকে সবচেয়ে বেশি ব্রাইট লাগছে কোন জায়গাগুলোর মধ্যে? না যে জায়গাগুলোর মধ্যে এই সমস্ত প্যাট্রিয়টরা কনফাইন্ড রয়েছেন, যেমন ডানজিয়ান। ডানজিয়ান মানে আন্ডারগ্রাউন্ড চেম্বার। এই জায়গার মধ্যে গডেস অফ লিবার্টিকে সবচেয়ে বেশি ব্রাইট লাগছে। বলছে লিবার্টি thou art. Thou art here means you are. Thou means you, it's an archaic word, and art, it means are. For there thy habitation is the heart. Now read this line in this way. O the goddess of liberty, thy habitation. The expression, I mean the word habitation means the dwelling place. Once more, the word habitation means the dwelling place. So, thy habitation, what does it mean? The dwelling place of the goddess of liberty. Once more, the dwelling place of the goddess of liberty. The dwelling place of the goddess of liberty is where? It's the heart of the patriots. I repeat once more. So, where one can find the presence of the goddess of liberty, one can find the presence of where one can find the presence of the goddess of liberty. If it was the question, then one can find the presence of the goddess of liberty definitely in the heart of the patriots. So the heart of the patriots is the habitation, that means is the dwelling place of the goddess of liberty. So they are the real devotees of the goddess of liberty, and that is why the goddess of liberty loves to stay in the hearts of the patriot. The heart which love of thee alone can bind. This is a very important line. And this line means that the heart of the patriot cannot be bound by any chain. The heart of the patriot can be bound only by the chain of love for the goddess of liberty. What does it mean? It means that a patriot can never surrender, can never give up in front of any formidable pressure, in front of any formidable threat. A patriot can bow down his head only in front of the goddess of liberty. And that is why Byron here definitely, illustrates, exaggerates. Byron here, what I say, emphasizes the point that the heart of the patriot is something that cannot be bound by any chain. Heart of the patriot is something that cannot be bound by any chain. The heart of the patriot can be bound only by the chain of love. I repeat, the heart of the patriot can be bound only by the chain of love, by the chain of love for the goddess of liberty. বাংলায় বলতে গেলে এখানে কবি বলতে চাইলেন যে প্যাট্রিয়টদের যে হৃদয় আছে সেই হৃদয়কে অন্য কোনো চেন দিয়ে বাঁধা যায় না। এই হৃদয়কে শুধুমাত্র বাঁধা যেতে পারে গডেস অফ লিবার্টির প্রতি ভালোবাসার মাধ্যমে, গডেস অফ লিবার্টির প্রতি ভালোবাসার দ্বারা। ঠিক আছে, এই সমস্ত প্যাট্রিয়টদের হৃদয়কে বাঁধা যেতে পারে। তার জন্য আগের লাইনটা আমরা আরেকবার পড়বো। বলা হচ্ছে, ও গডেস অফ লিবার্টি, আপনি কোথায় থাকেন? গডেস অফ লিবার্টি, আপনি থাকেন মানুষের হৃদয়ের মধ্যে। যে কোনো মানুষ নয়, প্যাট্রিয়টদের হৃদয়ের মধ্যে, যারা আপনার রিয়েল ডিভোটিস, যারা আপনার রিয়েল ওয়ার্শিপার্স, আপনি তাদের হৃদয়ের মধ্যে থাকেন। এটা এমন একটা হৃদয় যে হৃদয় শুধুমাত্র আপনার ভালোবাসার দ্বারা বাঁধা পড়তে পারে। মানে এক প্যাট্রিয়টদের হৃদয় কোনো কিছুর দ্বারা বাঁধা পড়তে পারে না। প্যাট্রিয়টদের হৃদয় শুধুমাত্র বাঁধা পড়তে পারে গডেস অফ লিবার্টিকে ভালোবাসার মাধ্যমে। এর মানেটা কি? এর মানে প্যাট্রিয়টরা স্বাধীনতা ভালোবাসে। দে লাভ লিবার্টি, দে লাভ ফ্রিডম, দে লাভ ইন্ডিপেন্ডেন্স। আর স্বাধীনতা ভালোবাসা মানে স্বাধীনতার ভালোবাসার বন্ধনে বাঁধা, স্বাধীনতার ভালোবাসার বন্ধনে বাঁধা এটা কোনো বাঁধন নয়, এটার মানে মুক্ত হওয়া। আমরা যদি অ্যালিগোরিক্যাল মিনিংটাকে বুঝি তাহলে আমরা বুঝতে পারবো স্বাধীনতার ভালোবাসার বন্ধনে বাঁধা এর মানে এটা কোনো মানে কি বলবো বন্দী হয়ে যাওয়া নয়, রাদার এটা মুক্ত হয়ে যাওয়া। এর পরের লাইনে আমরা যাচ্ছি। Let's read the next line. And when thy sons, as you all know that here thy sons refer to, the sons of the goddess of liberty. I repeat once more. Here thy sons refer to the sons of the goddess of liberty. So who are called the sons of the goddess of liberty? Exactly, the patriots. Who are called the sons of the goddess of liberty? The patriots are called the sons of the goddess of liberty. So what does the poet here mean to say? The poet here mean to say is that when the sons of the goddess of liberty, they are consigned. The word consigned here means surrendered. The word consigned here means handed over. The word consigned here means surrendered. The word consigned here means handed over. When thy sons, that means the sons of the goddess of liberty. Who are they? They are the patriots. To fetters, I will definitely come to the meaning of the line. Let me first clarify the meaning of the word. Fetters. The word fetter means chains. You understand that? You can clearly understand that when these, what I say, when these patriots are kept or confined within the dungeon of the celebrated prison of the celebrated castle, they are not kept there without chain. They are not kept in a chainless way. They are kept with chain. Their movements are restrained. They are not allowed, to move freely. They are kept as if they are cabined. They are boxed up, right? So the sons of the goddess of liberty, they are consigned. That means they are surrendered. They are handed over. They are handed over to where? They are handed over to fetters. That means with the help of the fetters, with the help of the chains, their hands, their feet are locked. Their hands, their feet are locked. And in such a way, they were taken somewhere inside, the prison, somewhere inside the cell. বাংলায় বলতে গেলে এই সমস্ত প্যাট্রিয়ট তাদের হাতে পায়ে শিকল বাঁধিয়ে তাদেরকে আনা হচ্ছে এবং তারপরে তাদেরকে এনে কোথায় রাখা হচ্ছে? রিপিট, the damp vaults dayless gloom. The expression dayless gloom refers to the darkness of the underground chamber. I repeat, the expression dayless gloom simply means the darkness of the underground chamber. It means these underground chambers are those places which are devoid of the presence of the sunlight. So the sunlight cannot reach there. And owing to the absence of the sunlight, the entire climate inside that particular, prison, inside that particular underground chamber, right? A kind of dampness is found. The atmosphere becomes extremely unhygiene. It becomes unhealthy. The place is devoid of sunlight. The air gets damp. The entire climate is a bit wet. And such an unhealthy place is kept for all these patriots. So this is an arrangement made by the perpetrators for intensifying the punishment of the patriots. And the more a patriot goes through punishment, the more the goddess of liberty looks bright. Yes or no? The punishment of the patriot, the pain, the torture, the agony of the patriots are the oblations to the feet of the goddess of liberty, are literally the holy oblations to the feet of the goddess of liberty. So who are kept? The patriots are kept. Who are the patriots? Patriots are the sons of the goddess of liberty. Where are they kept? They are kept. They are confined. They are imprisoned. Where? Inside the underground chamber. How is that underground chamber described? The underground chamber is described as a place devoid of the presence of the sunlight, as a place which is completely damp. Now you may ask me that you have not still spoken about the meaning of this particular word that is called to be, vault. Okay. Now, a vault is a V-shaped, or a vault is a U-shaped kind of building, right? So here the expression vault refers to the cell of the prison. Here vault suggests, what I say, the roof of the cell, the roof of the prison. It means the V-shaped or the U-shaped roof of that particular prison. Okay, so we understand. So the word vault here objectifies the prison itself. So the vault of the prison, it doesn't mean that the vault of the prison is only damp. It's like a fart for the hole. It's not the vault is only damp. Rather, the entire prison is damp owing to the absence of the sunlight, and which is why this expression is used, and the expression is dayless gloom. Okay, so read this particular line once more. We understand. We understand that the sons of the goddess of liberty, the sons of the goddess of liberty, they are delivered to fetters. They are delivered to fetters. That means the chains are put around the feet of the devotees. I mean, the chains are put around the feet of the what I say patriots, and then they are surrendered to the dark underground prisons where the daylight, or where the light of the sun never enters, right? So this is how Lord Byron describes the terrible condition of the vault. And then Lord Byron says their country. এখানে আমাকে একটা কথা বলতেই হবে, that এই কান্ট্রিটা তোমার আমার, বাট এই কান্ট্রিটা আমাদের দেশটা নেতাজির বেশি, আমাদের দেশটা গান্ধীজির বেশি। আমাদের এই দেশটা নেতাজির কেন বেশি? কারণ তারা তো তাদের জীবনকে পুরোপুরি ভাবে মানে কি বলবো গিভ আপ করে দিয়েছেন, তারা তাদের সবকিছুকে ত্যাগ করে দিয়েছেন। দে স্যাক্রিফাইসড অলমোস্ট এভরিথিং অফ দেয়ার লাইফস, রাইট, ফর দ্য লিবার্টি। তাহলে দেয়ার কান্ট্রি, এই কথাটা বুঝতে হবে, ওদের দেশ, ওনাদের দেশ, ঠিক আছে? আই এম ফল ইন লাভ উইথ দিস পার্টিকুলার এক্সপ্রেশন, দেয়ার কান্ট্রি, ওনাদের দেশ। এই দেশ ওনাদের, এই দেশ প্যাট্রিয়টদের, এই দেশ ওনাদের, এই মানসিকতা ছিল বলে একটা দেশের মধ্যে স্বাধীনতা আছে। সো এই দেশ ওনাদের দেশ। সো দেয়ার কান্ট্রি কনকার্স, এই কনকার্স মানে অবটেইনস ফ্রিডম, অর্থাৎ ওনাদের দেশ স্বাধীনতা জিতে নেয়। ওনাদের দেশ স্বাধীনতা জিতে নেয়। কিভাবে জিতে নেয়? উইথ দেয়ার মার্টায়ারডম। আমরা এই জিনিসটাকে বুঝতে পারবো, অর্থাৎ ওনাদের মার্টায়ারডমের মাধ্যমে এই জিনিসটাকে বুঝতে হবে। অর্থাৎ এনারা যখন মারা যান, এই যে মার্টারডাম, মার্টারডাম মানে কি? এটার মানে হলো সেলফ স্যাক্রিফাইস। মার্টারডাম মানে সেলফ স্যাক্রিফাইস, বাংলাতে শহীদ হওয়া, এর মানে ওনাদের মৃত্যু, ঠিক আছে? মানে দ্য প্যাট্রিয়টস গিভ আপ দেয়ার লাইভস ফর দ্য লিবার্টি অফ দেয়ার কান্ট্রিজ। অর্থাৎ এই সমস্ত প্যাট্রিয়টরা তারা তাদের নিজেদের জীবনকে গিভ আপ করে দেন। দেয়ার কান্ট্রি কনকার্স, অর্থাৎ পৃথিবীর প্রত্যেকটা দেশ বা পৃথিবীর যে কোনো দেশ, সেই দেশটা স্বাধীনতা জিতে নেয়, সেই দেশটা স্বাধীনতা জিততে পারে। আবার স্বাধীনতা কিসের মাধ্যমে জিততে পারে? কারণ এই সমস্ত প্যাট্রিয়টরা তারা মার্টারডামের মধ্য দিয়ে গো থ্রু করেন। তার মানে এই সমস্ত প্যাট্রিয়টরা তারা তাদের নিজেদের লাইফকে গিভ আপ করে দেন। তারা যেহেতু মানে কি বলবো শহীদ হয়ে যান, এবং সেই কারণের জন্য এই সমস্ত কান্ট্রিগুলো কি করতে পারে? এই সমস্ত কান্ট্রিগুলো কনকার করতে পারে। কোন জিনিসটাকে কনকার করতে পারে? তারা ফ্রিডমটাকে কনকার করতে পারে। আই হোপ আই এম আন্ডারস্ট্যান্ডেবল। So again the poet here speaks in favor of the contribution of the patriots, that the patriots are not selfish at all, they are not self-centric, they never think of their own personal interest, they think of the liberty of the state, they think of the liberty of the common people of their country. They know that the common people cannot remain alive, cannot live in the way they want if they are continuously colonized and dominated by the people of the other countries. স্বাধীনতা হীনতায় কে বাঁচিতে চায় হে, কে বাঁচিতে চায়। So nobody wants to remain alive, nobody wants to stay alive without this freedom, without this liberty. So this liberty is the need of the hour. Yes or no? So their country conquers, অর্থাৎ ওদের দেশ জয়লাভ করে, ওদের দেশ স্বাধীনতাকে জয়লাভ করে কিসের মাধ্যমে? মার্টারডামের মাধ্যমে। And then please read the next line. This is a beautiful line. I must say this is the most beautiful line. Freedom's fame finds wings on every wind. Here freedom's fame, that means the reputation the reputation of a country's, the reputation of a country's liberty, or the reputation of a country's freedom. Yes or no? Freedom's fame. This is a case of personification. Definitely, this is a case of a personification. But leave this area apart. Now understand freedom's fame. That means the reputation of a country, that this country is no longer dominated, this country is no longer colonized, this country is free. ঠিক আছে? So freedom's fame finds wings. What does it mean? It means that freedom's fame, that means a country's liberty is like that of a bird. If here compared to a bird, it's a case of a metaphor, an implicit comparison, that is drawn between completely two dissimilar things. So freedom's fame is compared to a bird, and such a bird that is able to fly in the air, and that bird is able to reach every nook and corner of the world, and that's how all the people of the whole world, or all the people of the world, come across about the particular news that this country has obtained or has achieved the much coveted, the much desired, the goal, the objective that all the people have been looking for many days. Yes or no? So freedom's fame মানে বাংলায় বলতে গেলে freedom's fame মানে একটা দেশের খ্যাতি, একটা দেশের রেপুটেশন, হচ্ছে একটা দেশের খ্যাতি বা একটা দেশের রেপুটেশন পাখির মতো ডানা মেলে বাতাসে উড়ে বেড়ায়. As you all know that wind is something that reaches everywhere. Wind is something that reaches everywhere. You can close your windows, close your door, close even the ventilators, but believe me, still your room would have that air. Yeah, the air could be damp, that is separate issue, but still your room would be filled with abundant air, right? So now wind is something, air is something that reaches even to those places যেগুলোকে আমরা কোনোদিন কল্পনাও করতে পারি না. মানে প্রত্যেকটা জায়গার মধ্যে উইন্ড বা বাতাস পৌঁছে যেতে পারে. এখানে কবি পরিষ্কার বাংলায় বললেন যে স্বাধীনতার খ্যাতি এমন একটা জিনিস যেটা পাখির মতো ডানা মেলে উড়বে এবং তারপরে পৃথিবীর প্রত্যেকটা জায়গার মধ্যে পৌঁছে যাবে. And that's how the octave of the poem comes to an end. So let me give a brief of the octave of the sonnet. The first 8 lines of this particular poem, I have not told about the definition of a sonnet because I believe that all of you are well acquainted with the definition of sonnet. You all know that the first 8 lines of a sonnet are known as octave. So we have completed the octave of the sonnet. So in the octave of the sonnet on the Castle of Chillon, we understand that here the goddess of liberty is addressed at the beginning of the poem, and the goddess of liberty is found in the chainless mind of the patriots, and the goddess of liberty looks most glorious in the underground chambers. I told you, the more the patriots go through punishments, the more the goddess of liberty looks, brightest. And then the poet says that the goddess of liberty is not found in any temple. Exactly. The goddess of liberty is not found in any temple. The goddess of liberty is only found in the heart of the patriots. And believe me, then the poet describes the heart of the patriots, and then the poet says that the heart of the patriot is something that cannot be bound by any chain. The heart of the patriot can be bound by the chain of the love for liberty. What a beautiful expression. And then the poet speaks about the painful condition of the patriots. He says that how the devotees, how the worshippers of the goddess of liberty, how the chains are put around the feet of the patriots, and how they are thrown somewhere inside the underground chambers where there's the unavailability of the sunlight. The entire climate is extremely unhealthy, and they spend their days, and they were forced to remain alive So it's because of the sacrifices on the part of the patriots. Now you understand that a country is capable of obtaining the freedom. So the martyrdom is the region. That means the patriots must have to sacrifice their lives. Otherwise, a country cannot obtain the freedom. Right? And when a country is declared to be free, it's like a bird that starts to fly in the sky. And this reputation, I mean, the reputation of a country's, what I say, of a country's independence is able to reach to every nook and corner of the whole world. Right? Now, start to read the last 6 lines of the sonnet, which are called to be, the sestet. So now this poem has become specific. So the first 8 lines of the poem are extremely general. It's a poem about the description of all the patriots of the whole world, including Francois de Bonneval. It's a poem about the description of all the prisons of the whole world, including the Castle of Chillon. But right now, when the sestet of the poem begins, I mean, when the last 6 line begins, at the time the poem is about the specific and the particular description about the Castle of Chillon, as well as about the contribution of Bonneval. Now you understand. So the poet says that Chillon. So now for the first time you understand that this is called Chillon. Chillon is a castle. It is a castle in Switzerland. It is situated at the eastern end of the Lake Geneva. I repeat, it is situated where? It is situated at the eastern end of the Lake Geneva, and it was believed that it was built during the medieval times, and formerly it was considered to be a palace occupied by the rulers, and later this palace was abandoned by them. They deserted this palace, and this palace had many underground chambers, and later this palace was transformed into a prison where the devotees of the goddess of liberty, that means the patriots, were kept there, were confined there. So this is what I want to say about Chillon. Okay, so this is Chillon. বাংলায় বলতে গেলে চিলিয়ান একটা সুইজারল্যান্ডের একটা বড় দুর্গ, যেটা জেনেভার লেকে অবস্থিত, যেটা মেডিয়েভাল টাইমস, ওই 9th 10th ওরকম একটা টাইমের মধ্যে, 9th to 13th সেঞ্চুরির মধ্যে এই পার্টিকুলার ক্যাসেলটাকে তৈরি হয়েছিল। সুইজারল্যান্ডের একটা জায়গা আছে যে জায়গাটার নাম প্যারিটেট, সেই জায়গার মধ্যে এটা রয়েছে। জেনেভা লেকের ইস্টার্ন সাইডে রয়েছে। আগে এখানে রাজারা থাকতেন, পরবর্তী ক্ষেত্রে এই জায়গাটাকে অ্যাবান্ডন করা হয়েছে। এখন এই জায়গাটা কি হিসাবে কাজ করছে? এটা এমন একটা জায়গা হয়ে গেছে যেখানে তোমার, এক্সকিউজ মি, কারা থাকছেন? এই সমস্ত প্যাট্রিয়টদেরকে এখন বেঁধে পরে এখানে রাখা হচ্ছে। So now understand what I'm going to say. Chillon, the prison is a holy place. What a line. It is a holy place because the goddess of liberty is worshipped there. And goddess of liberty can be worshipped only by the patriots, and the patriots were kept, were confined, were imprisoned, were cabined, were boxed up only inside the Castle of Chillon. So Castle of Chillon is called a holy place. Why it's called a holy place? What is meant by a holy place? A holy place means a church. A holy place means a mosque. A holy place is a temple. Yes or no? So now this is called a holy place because the devotees of the goddess of liberty were kept there. More particularly, Francois de Bonneval, he is called to be the chief priest of the goddess of liberty. So your prison is a holy place. Your prison is a holy place. So what is called a holy place? The Castle of Chillon is called a holy place, and it's called a holy place because the devotees of the goddess of liberty are kept there, or more particularly, goddess of liberty is worshipped inside the Castle of Chillon, as the patriots are the chief priests of the goddess of liberty, and the patriots were kept inside the prisons, including the Castle of Chillon. So this castle is called a holy place. And the sad floor, an important expression. I must say this is again an important expression, sad floor. It is a transferred epithet. Everybody comes to understand that the expression sad floor is an example of hyperlage or transferred epithet. Why? because here the floor is not sad, rather the floor is capable to evoking, sadness. Yes or no? Or even the person who is kept inside the floor is equally sad, right? So the floor is not sad, rather the person who is kept inside the floor is sad. So Francois de Bonivard was sad because he fought for the common people of Geneva. He stood against the he stood against the oppressive tendencies of the Duke of Savoy. So eventually, when he saw that how he was buckled, how he was confined, how he was chained, and how he was put into the castle of Chillon, all these things definitely made him a bit sad. So, sad floor, it means, so the expression sad floor, it means that the person who was kept inside the prison was sad. So, the phrase sad floor is an example of hyperlage or transport epithet. So the floor is called sad because the floor arouses the thoughts of sadness in the mind of the beholders, in the mind of the spectators. Yes or no? Suppose you pay a visit to the cellular jail. You can come across about the fact that how the Indian patriots were confined there, how they spent their days with agony and with torment. And when you probably with the help of the time machine you go back to the pages of the history, all the pictures of the agony and the pain and the torture would appear in a clear and crystal manner in front of your eyes. You must become sad, you should become sad. That is something Lord Byron is here telling. He is saying that the floor is able to create the sadness, the floor is able to create the feeling of sadness in the mind of the beholders, and that's why this floor is called sad. This floor, the sad floor, so there are two meanings. Let me tell you all. There are two meanings, there are two explanations from this particular expression called sad floor. The first one is that the floor is not sad. The person who was kept there was sad. The person kept there was sad. So Bonivard was sad. Okay. And the next explanation is that the floor is capable of creating sadness in the mind of the beholders. The floor is capable of creating sadness in the mind of the spectators, and that's why the floor is called sad, right? And the sad floor, an altar. So the sad floor is called an altar. What is an altar? An altar is a sacred place. An altar is a sacred place where the oblations are kept, and an altar is a place where the worshipper or the priest performs the holy worshipping. The holy worshipping takes place on an altar, right? Now you all must know that the sad floor of the Castle of Chillon, I repeat, the sad floor of the Castle of Chillon is called an altar. It is called an altar. Why? Because the goddess of liberty was worshipped there. And the goddess of liberty was worshipped none other. The goddess of liberty was worshipped only by Francois de Bonivard. Right? Francois de Bonivard was tortured there. He was imprisoned there. He was not allowed to move freely. So he was kept there. And he continuously, tried to get an escape from that place, but he was not fortunate enough before 1536 to get escape from that horrible imprisonment in the Castle of Chillon. So eventually he was forced to stay there, and that's why while staying there his mind was chainless. He did not bow down, he did not surrender in front of the perpetrators, in front of the oppressors, right? সুতরাং বাংলায় বলতে গেলে ফ্রাঙ্কোয়েস ডি বনিভার্ট তিনি গডেস অফ লিবার্টিকে, স্বাধীনতার দেবীকে পুজো করেছিলেন ক্যাসল অফ চিলিয়নের মধ্যে বন্দী থেকে। ক্যাসল অফ চিলিয়নের মেঝেটা একটা পবিত্র বেদি হয়ে গেছে ফ্রাঙ্কোয়েস ডি বনিভার্ট ছিলেন বলে। কারণ ফ্রাঙ্কোয়েস ডি বনিভার্ট গডেস অফ লিবার্টিকে পুজো করতেন, আর গডেস অফ লিবার্টির পুজো হয় জেলের এই সমস্ত কক্ষগুলোতে। ঠিক আছে, বলছে ইট ওয়াজ ট্রোড, আমি বলছি ইট ওয়াজ ট্রোড নয়, ইট ওয়াজ ট্রোডেন। ইট মানে দ্য ফ্লোর অফ দ্য ক্যাসেল অফ সিলিয়ন, the floor of the castle of Chillon. It was trodden. Trodden, that means trade, trod, trodden. আমরা ট্রেডমিল জানি, জিমে ট্রেডমিল থাকে যাতে সবাই হেঁটে চলে। তাহলে ইট ওয়াজ ট্রোডেন মানে কি, এই যে পার্টিকুলার যে তোমার মেঝেটা ছিল, সেই মেঝেটাতে কন্টিনিউয়াসলি হেঁটে চলেছিলেন, সেই মেঝেটাতে কন্টিনিউয়াসলি হেঁটে চলেছিলেন। তাই ইট ওয়াজ ট্রোডেন মানে ইট ওয়াজ ওয়াকড, মানে ওই ফ্লোরটার উপরে হেঁটে চলেছিলেন। কে হেঁটে চলেছিলেন? ইট ওয়াজ ট্রোডেন। এরপরে একদম এই লাইনে চলে এসো প্রত্যেকে, বাই বনিভার্ট। এই লাইন থেকে একদম ডাইরেক্ট এখানে আসবে, ইট ওয়াজ ট্রোডেন বাই বনিভার্ট। তার মানে দ্য স্যাড ফ্লোর অফ দ্য ক্যাসল অফ সিলিয়ন ইজ এন অল্টার, বিকজ এখানে কবি বলে দিচ্ছেন কারণটা, উই আর নোবডি। এখানে কবি বলে দিচ্ছেন দ্য স্যাড ফ্লোর অফ দ্য ক্যাসল অফ সিলিয়ন ইজ এন অল্টার বিকজ the floor was trodden by Francois de Bonivard, the celebrated Swiss patriot. The sad floor, I mean the floor of the Castle of Chillon is an altar because the floor was trodden by Francois de Bonivard. কারণ Francois de Bonivard ওখানে হাঁটাচলা করেছেন। বলছে ওখানে তিনি কতক্ষণ অবধি হাঁটাচলা করেছেন না, আনটিল অ্যান্ড আনলেস, যতক্ষণ না অবধি, ভালো করে বুঝবে, যতক্ষণ না অবধি। তাই আনটিল মানে টিল বা আপ টু দা টাইম, আনটিল মানে টিল বা আপ টু দা টাইম, ততক্ষণ অবধি তিনি হাঁটাচলা করেছেন, যতক্ষণ না অবধি হিজ ভেরি স্টেপস। এখানে ভেরি স্টেপস মানে তার ফুটস্টেপস, তার পায়ের ছাপ। বলছে তার পায়ের ছাপগুলো যতক্ষণ না অবধি লেফট এ ট্রেস, লেফট এ ট্রেস মানে লেফট এ পার্মানেন্ট ইমপ্রেশন, লেফট এ পার্মানেন্ট ইমপ্রেশন। বলা হচ্ছে তিনি ততক্ষণ অবধি হেঁটে গেছিলেন ওই ঠান্ডা পাথরের মেঝের উপর দিয়ে, যতক্ষণ না অবধি তার পায়ের ছাপগুলো পড়েছিল ওই পাথরের উপরে। রাইট, এটার মাধ্যমে আমরা বুঝে উঠতে পারছি that how terrible was the punishment, how horrible was the punishment. The celebrated patriot was not allowed to move freely. He was allowed only to move inside the limited confines of a very small room. His feet were chained, his hands were confined, and the devotee, the celebrated devotee, the celebrated patriot was literally, moving somewhere inside that particular little room. Right? এবং এখানে বলা হচ্ছে তিনি এই ছোট রুমটার মধ্যে কন্টিনিউয়াসলি হাঁটছিলেন, আর এইভাবে হাঁটতে হাঁটতে তার পা থেকে কি হয়েছে, তার হাঁটা চলার ফলে তার পায়ের একটা পার্মানেন্ট ইমপ্রেশন বা তার পায়ের একটা দাগ কোথার উপর পড়ে গেছে, যেন আজকে বলা হচ্ছে এই পাথরের উপর একটা পায়ের দাগ পড়ে গেছে। ওয়ার্ন আউট, হোয়াট ওয়াজ ওয়ার্ন আউট? এখানে ওয়ার্ন মানে ওয়ার্ন আউট, ওয়ার্ন আউট দ্যাট মিনস ফেডেড। হোয়াট ওয়াজ ওয়ার্ন আউট? দ্য cold stone was worn out. What was worn out? The cold stone was worn out. The cold stone was worn out. Try to understand. Okay, we are থেকে worn out. A cold stone টা আমি আবার বলছি, a cold pavement, এখানে pavement means the stone of the floor. Here pavement, what is meant by the word pavement? Here pavement means the stone of the floor. বলছে এমন ভাবে, অ্যাজিভ, অ্যাজিভ মানে ইট সিমস দ্যাট, ঠিক আছে, এমন ভাবে তিনি এই ঠান্ডা পাথরের উপর দিয়ে হেঁটে গেছিলেন যেমন ভাবে একটা মানুষ হেঁটে যায় সডের উপরে। হোয়াট ইজ মিন্ট বাই দ্য ওয়ার্ড সড? দ্য গ্রাসি সারফেস অফ দ্য আর্থ, দ্য গ্রাসি সারফেস অফ দ্য আর্থ। আবার বলছি, এর মানে দ্য গ্রাসি সারফেস অফ দ্য আর্থ। সকাল বেলায় একটা মানুষ মাঠের উপর যেখানে সবুজ ঘাস রয়েছে তার উপর হাঁটতে একটা মানুষের কোন রকম কোনো কি অসুবিধা হয়? Does a person face any kind of problem during the time of walking in morning on the bed of the green grasses? The answer is no, sir. There is no problem. কোনো অসুবিধা হয় না, একটা মানুষ সেখানে আরামে হেঁটে যায়, কমফোর্টেবলি হেঁটে যায়, ঠিক আছে। কিন্তু একটা মানুষকে যদি বলা হয় আপনি খালি পায়ে ঠান্ডা পাথরের উপর কন্টিনিউয়াসলি হাঁটুন, একটা মানুষ কি পারবে? 1530 থেকে 1536, 1530 থেকে 1536 বিয়োগ করলেও 6টা বছর আছে, ঠিক আছে। এই 6টা বছর ধরে এই লোকটা খালি পায়ে ওই ঠান্ডা পাথরের উপর হেঁটে চলেছিলেন তিনি, ঠিক আছে। সেই ওই লাইনটা, মরণ রে তুহু মম শ্যাম ও সমান, আজ সমস্ত কষ্টকে, ঠিক আছে, আমি মেনে নেব, রাইট। বলছে অ্যাজ ইফ দ্য কোল্ড পেভমেন্ট ওয়ার এ সর্ড, এমন ভাবে তিনি ঠান্ডা পাথরের উপর হেঁটে গেছিলেন যেন এই ঠান্ডা পাথরটা কি ছিল? এই ঠান্ডা পাথরটা যেন একটা ঘাসের বিছানা ছিল। It was, you know what? It was a bed of grasses. ওটা কিন্তু ঘাসের বিছানা ছিল না। এই যে where, if I were a bird, যদি আমি পাখি হতাম, hypothetical cases, the imaginary cases, the subjunctive mood, ঠিক আছে। বলছে as if thy cold pavement were a sword. Was it a sword? It wasn't a sword. Was it a sword? Was it a grassy surface? It was not a sword. It was not a grassy surface. It was what? It was a cold pavement. The word cold implies the painful. The word cold implies the hostile condition of the surface of the floor, you know, for walking. The unfriendly condition of the surface of the floor for walking. But, ঠিক আছে, সমস্ত কষ্টকে গলায় পরে নেওয়া, মালা করে পরে নেওয়ার জন্য প্যাট্রিয়টদের জন্ম হয়। তাই বনিভার কি করেছিলেন? বনিভার ওয়েন্ট অন ওয়াকিং। বনিভার হেঁটে এগিয়ে গেছিলেন। কোথায় হেঁটে এগিয়ে গেছিলেন? এই কোল্ড পেভমেন্টের উপর হেঁটে এগিয়ে গেছিলেন, এটা মনে করে যেন এই কোল্ড পেভমেন্টটা একটা সড, সড মানে the grassy surface of the earth. Kobi request, the last two lines, the most important lines, the most emotional lines and the most important lines of the text. কবি এখানে অনুরোধ করছেন, nobody should efface those marks. এখানে মার্কস বলতে কি? যে ফুটপ্রিন্ট গুলো, the footprint, যেটা ওই পাথরের উপর খুঁজে পাওয়া যাচ্ছে, ওই পাথরের উপর যে ফুটপ্রিন্ট গুলো, বনিভার, ফ্রাঙ্কোয়েস ডি বনিভারের পায়ের যে ফুটপ্রিন্ট গুলো পাথরের উপর খুঁজে পাওয়া যাচ্ছে, সেগুলোকে বলা হচ্ছে, বলছে কেউ যাতে করে কোনোদিন না ফ্রাঙ্কোয়েস ডি বনিভারের পায়ের এই চিহ্নগুলোকে মুছে দেয়। ইফেস মানে টু অ্যাবলিশ এন্ড ডেমলিশ, ইফেস মানে ওয়াইপ আউট। নোবডি শুড এভার ওয়াইপ আউট, নোবডি শুড এভার ওয়াইপ আউট, কারো উচিত হবে না, কোনোদিন উচিত হবে না এই পায়ের ছাপগুলোকে মুছে দেওয়া, কারো উচিত হবে না, কোনোদিন উচিত হবে না। তিনি অনুরোধ করছেন যে যাতে করে, ইটস এ কাইন্ড অফ আ রিকোয়েস্ট, অ্যাপিল, ঠিক আছে, ফ্রম দ্য ইমোশনাল পার্ট অফ দ্য লাভার, the emotional part of the poet. The poet has become extremely emotional. The poet is appealing that nobody should ever efface the footmarks, the prints, the footprints, right, from the cold pavement of the Castle of Chillon. এই Castle of Chillon এর এখান থেকে কেউ যাতে করে এই মার্ক গুলো তুলে না দেয়। কেন? ফর মানে এখানে বিকজ, because they appeal to God against tyranny. Because they appeal to God against tyranny. এখানে from word আমরা পড়বই না, এটাকে আমরা পড়বো against বলে। tyranny, tyranny মানে অত্যাচার, tyranny মানে দেশদ্রোহিতা, tyranny মানে অনাচার, ব্যভিচার, সন্ত্রাস। বলছে এই যে পায়ের দাগগুলো আছে, বনিভারের পায়ের দাগগুলো আছে, এই পায়ের দাগগুলো দেবতার কাছে অনুরোধ করছে, দেবতাকে জানান দিচ্ছে যে কিভাবে লড়াই করতে হয়। এই পায়ের দাগগুলো লড়াই করার মানসিকতা শিখিয়ে দিয়ে যাচ্ছে। তাই বনিভারের এই পায়ের চিহ্নগুলো দেখে লর্ড বায়রন পরিষ্কার ভাবে বলছেন যে কেউ যাতে করে কোনোদিন না এই পায়ের চিহ্নগুলো মুছে দেয়, কারণ এগুলো স্বাধীনতার কথা বলে, সাম্যের কথা বলে, অত্যাচারের বিরুদ্ধে প্রতিবাদের কথা বলে। ধন্যবাদ।